Hello and welcome to the second part of this fanfiction reading of How to Love by FuzzyBacon, which didn't mention, but that's a wonderful name. So we're on chapter 5, and yeah, we'll just continue on, I guess. As long as my voice can stop being stupid and all that, but, what am I supposed to do? Okay. Chapter 5. Ruby. Hey, Weiss, I said, walking up to her. She smiled. We were standing in front of the library. Hey, Ruby, she said, hugging me. I hugged back and pulled away. I wanted to ask you something, I said, scratching the back of my neck nervously. She said. I grasped her hand. Will you be my girlfriend? I asked. She smiled and kissed my cheek. Of course, dolt, she said, smiling. Okay, snowflake, I said, giggling. I better get going. Winter's waiting for me, she said. She hugged me one last time and left. I smiled watching her leave. Nice job, dolt. I jumped and turned around. Yang, I said angrily. Oh, don't worry, I brought everyone, she said, smiling. My face was burning. Stop teasing me, Yang, I mumbled. She hugged me. See what happens when you face your fears, she squealed. Put me down, Yang, I yelled. The others laughed. I pouted. Please, I asked. She looked into my eyes. Stop making that face, she said. Puppy eyes don't fail me now. Fine, she said, lowering me. I smiled. Thank you, I said happily. Let's go do stuff, Nora whined. Can we go get pancakes, she said excitedly. Oh, I should have asked Weiss, I said, pouting. Ask her now, Yang said. I sighed. She's with Winter, I said. Yang raised an eyebrow. Her sister? Oh, okay. So, those pancakes, Nora said. Ren held his wallet in his hand. I'll pay, he said. Then let's go, Yang said, grabbing my hood. I had to walk backwards. We'll meet at Dad's diner. We'll meet at my dad's diner, John said, smiling. Everyone went to their cars. Pancakes, Nora said, biting the table. You can't eat wood, Nora, Ren said. She glared at him. I want pancakes, she whined. And I want Weiss, but we all can't have what we want, I said, smirking. Hey, guys, I turned my head towards the angelic voice. Hey, Weiss, I greeted. Hi, sup, hey. Oh, that was terrible. Hi, sup, hey, greetings. Hello again. Pancakes. Weiss, who are your friends, Winter asked. Ruby, Blake, Yang, Jean, Nora, Pira, and Ren, she said, smiling. Winter smiled. I'm Winter Schnee. It's an honor to meet you, she said formally. Stop being so formal, Weiss whispered. Okay, Winter whispered back. I mean, sup, I'm Winter. Everyone smiled. Nice to meet you, Winter, I said, smiling. She smiled at me. She was wearing a flannel with jeans. It's a look. So this is the Ruby you told me about, Winter asked, pointing at me. Yeah, Weiss said, smiling. She seems polite, Winter said, smiling. She needs a tan, though, I scoffed. Why do people keep saying that, I asked. Yang put a hand on my shoulder. Because you do. Weiss does, too, she said, smiling. I sighed. Then why don't we go to the beach, I asked. Yang smiled. That's the spirit. Chess's ears flattened against her head. I don't like water, she said, whimpering. Me neither. I'm Neptune, a guy with blue hair was standing there with our pancakes. Here you go, he said, putting the plates on the table. Hey, look, you made a friend, Louis said, smiling. Chess pointed a wrench at her neck. What? Whatever. Don't test me, she said, glaring. We should hang out sometime, just away from the water, he said. Chess smiled. We should. I'm Chess, by the way, she said. Their stare lingered for a little too long. Rocket cleared her throat. Oh, sorry, Neptune said, walking away. Chess smiled softly to herself. He's cute, she said, looking up. Rocket's eye twitched. But opposites attract, so, Chess said, shrugging. I think you are opposites. You love him, Louis teased. Chess growled back at me. Rocket put her face on the table. I'll be right back, she said, leaving. Chess smirked. Neptune came back. Did it work? He asked. Chess nodded. Yep, she totally likes me. Thanks again, bro, she said. Neptune smiled. Anytime. He walked away. The fuck just happened? Yang asked. Chess smiled. My master plan. I'm pushing Rock to her limits until she has to confess her love to me. I've known for years now, she said. Lewis scoffed. And you didn't tell me I'm your twin, she yelled. Tell you what, Rocket asked. Chess glanced at Lewis. Chess is gay, Lewis said, smirking. Rocket perked up. Oh, she said, surprised. Yep, Chess said, smiling. Rocket nodded and sat down. Why are you so quiet? Are you silently judging me? Chess asked. Rocket's eyes widened. No, Rocket kept fidgeting. Rock, for the love of God, say what you want to say instead of speaking nonsense. I'd rather tell you when we're alone, she said. Chess frowned. Okay, she said. Can we go to the beach now? Asked, looking out of the window. We have to head home and change, Yang said, smiling. I grabbed a pancake and put it in my mouth. Let's go, I cheered. Yang followed me, laughing. Later. Why wear a bathing suit when you hate water? Lewis asked. Chess smiled. As long as it's not cold, I'll be fine, she said. She ran to the water and touched it. It's warm! I yelled, floating on my back. She stepped in. Lewis ran and tackled her. They both laughed. Rocket sat in the sand. She was on her phone. Pierre was walking towards her. Rocket sighed and started walking to the water with Pierre. The sunset shined down on the water. It was beautiful. I was sitting in shallow water. I felt a hand on my thigh. Good thing I'm wearing swim trunks. Chess, I'm sorry about earlier. I just wanted you to know I love you, she said, smiling. Chess smirked. You could have said that years ago. I knew the entire time, but I have the same feelings, I said, smiling. She hugged me. Stay with me forever, she mumbled. I nodded. I will. Get some! God damn it. Get some, Yang yelled. I splashed her. Weiss was leaning into my back. Her sister was in the sand with Weiss's dad. I smiled back at her. Weiss, will you stay with me forever? I asked. She kissed my cheek. Of course. She lied. That's just unfortunate. God damn it. Oh. All right. Good God. Chapter 6. Weiss, what are you saying? I asked. We were in the middle of the hallway. I can't be with you anymore. My father... I sobbed and she took a step back. I fell to my knees and looked up at her. He's forcing me to. I love you, she said, leaving. I looked up and watched her leave. I cried softly. I felt a hand on my shoulder. You okay, Ruby? Blake asked. Yang was running up behind her. Why, she's gone. She just broke up with me because of her stupid father. I yelled the last part. That was terrible. Because of her stupid father! I yelled the last part. Yang hugged me and picked me up. It's okay. Everything will be fine, she whispered. I put my face into her neck. We're going home now, okay? Yang asked. I nodded and she kissed my forehead. Blake, can you get her stuff? Yang asked. Blake bent over and grabbed my backpack. She put my phone in her pocket. Got it, she said. Yang carried me to the car. Did you do it? Father asked. Yes, sir, I said emotionlessly. He smiled. Good, he said, nodding. Winter put a hand on my shoulder. He walked away and I let out a choked sob. I hugged Winter and sobbed. You just have to get through senior year. I'll take you and your friends back to Vacuo with me, she said softly. She picked me up and carried me to my room. She sat down and I wailed into her chest. It hurts so much, I wailed. She nodded. I know. You'll be okay. I'll help you fix this, she said softly. I can't even look at her, I said. I just want to be happy for once, I said, crying. She hugged me tighter. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, help this child. Oh, my God. She was wailing into my chest, which is pretty big. Yeah, thanks, Yang. She's been crying for hours. She stopped crying and coughed. I hugged her and she snuggled into me. I heard her soft snores. I lay her in her bed and went downstairs. How is she? Dad asked. Mom looked up from her book. She really loved her. She just cried herself into exhaustion, I said sadly. Mom frowned. Why would someone do that to her? Mom asked. Summer, teens are strange nowadays, Dad said. I scoffed. I'm not strange, I said. He gave me that really look. I'm not that strange, I mumbled. Oh, really? How many guys have you dated? He asked. I sighed. 0, I mumbled. How many girls? He asked. 27, 28, counting Blake. I said. He nodded. See? Strange, he said. You've only dated 2 girls and 0 guys, Mom said, coughing. But you still love me, he said. But you still love me, he said, laughing. Heard crying from upstairs. I sighed. Be right back, I said, frowning. Ruby, you need, I said. She was curled up in a ball and her phone was on. I picked it up and growled. Who is this? I asked. Ruby shrugged. Nobody messes with my sister, I said angrily. Dang, it's not a big deal, she said, sobbing. You're being bullied. It's a huge deal, I yelled. Come on, I'm not letting you stay in a room alone. And, yeah, alright. That's about what I expected from this. Alright, chapter 7. I'm pissed. Figures. Someone's bullying Ruby. Blake hated one of my cat puns. I fucked up on my hair and now my spike is longer than normal. Sorry. Shit! Fucked up! It makes you look more mature, Jean said. I don't want to be mature. I want to be Yang, I said. He raised an eyebrow. I like Yang better, Blake said, kissing my cheek. Let's go fix that spike, she said, taking my hand. She went into the bathroom. I stood in front of a mirror. She patted down my spike and closed my eyes. And I closed my eyes. Why are you closing your eyes? She asked. I don't normally let people touch my hair, except Mom, I said. Done, she said. She took a step back. Thanks, Blakey, I said, smiling. I pulled her into a kiss. She purred and I pushed her against the wall. She pulled away, panting. We should stop. We can continue this later, though, she said, smirking. I smiled and pulled away. We should get back to the others, she said, smiling. I wanted to take a piss, not get turned on, Chess said. Her face was slightly red. I smirked and Blake turned red. Sorry, Chess, I said. She shrugged. Better than someone I know, she mumbled. I heard that, Rocket said, walking in. And it was my first time. I had no idea what I was doing, she said. Chess smirked. I did. What is this story? Like, seriously. She said, laughing. I did the best I could, she argued. Okay, A for effort, Chess said, smiling. Rocket laughed. Yang, I looked at the doorway. Ruby was standing there, tears brimmed in her eyes. I hugged her and she whimpered. I can't look at her without crying, she mumbled. Ruby clung to my shirt. Do you want to go home? I asked. She nodded and I let out a sob. I picked her up and she put her head on my shoulder. Can I come? Blake asked. I smiled. Of course, I said. Ruby coughed. Open your locker, Ruby said. Wow, Yang said. I walked forward and opened it. Blake grabbed my backpack. My phone vibrated in my pocket. The bully texted me again. I don't even know who this person is. I blocked their number and put my phone in my pocket. Yang put a hand on my shoulder. Let's go, she said. She took my phone from my pocket. I looked up at her. I'll find this person. I will make them pay, Yang said seriously. I put my hands in my hoodie pocket. Yang covered my eyes. What are you doing? I asked, trying to move her arm. Nothing, she said. I removed her arm from my face. Weiss was talking to Pyrrha. I felt tears brim my eyes. Weiss looked around and she spotted me. She looked away and Pyrrha hugged her. Yang picked me up. Stop staring, Yang said. I silently cried into her shoulder. Blake put my bag in the car. I got in the back. Yang started the car. You okay? Yang asked. I stopped. I shook my head and put my hands on my face. Stop crying silently. You're going to hurt yourself. Just let it out, Yang said in a concerned voice. I wailed loudly. Blake covered her cat ears. I coughed and put my head on the back of Yang's seat. Blake put a hand on my head. It'll be okay. Just wait until senior year is over, she said. Yang smiled. That's in at least 2 months, Yang said. Blake nodded. I looked at Yang and she was smirking. I got 2 months to find that bitch, she said. I frowned. You don't even know who it is, I said, wiping away my tears. I have an idea, though, Yang said, her eyes turning red. Uh-oh. Blake coughed and Yang glanced at her. Oh, sorry. She looked back at the road. She stopped the car. This isn't home, I said. She looked at me. She looked back at me. I know, she said, getting out. I don't know. What am I? Okay. Come on, we're getting ice cream, I smilingly got out. Yang locked her car, and I followed her. Welcome to the Snowflake. May I take your order? The waitress asked. She looked like ice cream. All right, that's just funny. Strawberry, I said. Banana, Yang said, smiling. Chocolate, Blake said. Yang raised an eyebrow. Can't that kill you? She asked once the waitress left. No, I'm part human, Blake said. Oh, Yang said. I was looking out the window, watching the clouds. Ruby, Yang said sternly. I looked at her. Huh? I asked, looking at her. You keep zoning out, Blake said, concerned. I shrugged and looked out the window. Can you just talk to us? Yang asked. I looked at her and shook my head. Why? She asked. I sighed. We're in public. I don't want to cry again, I said, frowning. She nodded. Then let's talk about good things, like Blake, Yang said, smiling. Blake turned red and put her hands in her face. How about we talk about our past, Yang asked. Blake perked up and removed her hands. Okay, just skip all the sad parts for now, she said, smiling. Yang smiled. I was adorable, obviously. It was me, Dad, and Summer, Ruby's mom, but I called her Mom. 2 years later, Ruby was born. I loved her cute little face. I cried when I found out she would get older. She was the best thing that ever happened to me. Blake smiled. Yang kissed her cheek. We started getting older. Mom gave me the talk. Not Ruby, though. They wanted to keep her to keep her innocence. They said when she gets old enough, I would have to tell her. I looked up at her. You still haven't told me all of it, I said, pouting. Later, she said. If you want me to skip the sad parts, I met you, I loved you, and when I looked into your beautiful yellow eyes, so I got you this. God. Blake Belladonna, or Yang stood up and got on one knee. Blake Belladonna, I promise to stay with you through thick and thin. I'll never leave your side. You have filled that special place in my heart. Blake started tearing up. Will you be my girlfriend? Yang asked. Blake hugged her and nodded. Yes, I'll stay here with you, Blake said, smiling. Yang kissed her cheek. She put the ring on her finger. See, Ruby, that's how you love a lady. That's not okay, Yang said, smiling. I smiled. I'm glad you're happy, I said, smiling. Let's go spread love, Yang declared. I laughed and followed her. Blake ran and jumped on her back. Come here, Rubes. Yang picked me up and carried me out. I was giggling the entire time. Yang was smiling and aware, laughing. What? Blake laughed and purred a little. She put me in the back seat and shut the door. She put Blake in the passenger seat. Okay, when we get home, we're going to talk, Yang said. Which one? All of them. Okay. Do I, actually want to read this? You know what? Let's do it. Fuck it. Chapter 8. So, do you like girls or guys? Yang and... Whatever. Yang asked or something. I don't know. I raised an eyebrow. Just answer the question, she said seriously. Both, I said. She sighed. Okay, which do you like more? She asked. Girls, she nodded. Then we'll start with that. Blake, I need your help. Yang yelled. Blake walked into my room. She was on her phone. When you meet a girl you love very much, you fuck them, Yang said. Blake slapped her. No, it's called lovemaking, Blake said, and glaring at Yang. So you have to, she looked in thought for a moment. You have to touch each other while naked, Blake said. Yang nodded. Why? I asked. For pleasure, Yang said, smirking. It also strengthens the relationship, Blake said, smiling. But only do it to the one you love most, if they're willing to, Yang said. Blake nodded. I have another question, I said, blushing. Ask away, Yang said, grinning. Where do babies come from? Ask the author, Yang asked. Yang answered hurriedly. Oh, okay, Fuzzy, where do babies come from? Ruby yelled. Anyone really caused this child's count to... What? Caused love child... Oh. Anyone really, because love child's count 2, Fuzzy's voice rang out. Okay, thanks, Ruby yelled. That really helps. Where do babies come from? Anyone really. That makes all the sense. So, different genders have different parts. Yang said. I raised an eyebrow. Boys have dicks, Blake said. Yang glared at her. What's that? I asked seriously. God help this child. Should we just call Ren? Yang asked. Yup. Ugh. So weird. Okay. Later. Thanks, Ren, Yang yelled. You can keep the diagrams, he yelled back. I had my hands on my face. Okay, that was horrible. Hated every second of it, I said, frowning. Yang smirked. You're just mad because Ren used diagrams instead of pulling down his pants, she said, laughing. I scowled. That's gross, plus Nora would murder me, I said seriously. Blake was shaking her head. Did he have to teach her all of that? Blake asked. Yang shrugged. He could have left out the kink part, she said. It would be useful if someone she dated had them, she added. Can we just stop talking about this? I asked. Yang looked up at me and laughed. Nope, nope, now you know what my jokes mean, she said. Blake elbowed her. So how about continuing? She asked Blake. Blake grabbed her by the collar and walked into Yang's room. Don't come in here, Blake said, shutting the door. I cringed and went outside. I sat in the grass looking up at the stars. I saw a shooting star and smiled. Weiss, please come back to me. I miss you. That really was not what that said. I said softly. I lay back and pouted. Ruby? I looked up and saw Velvet and Coco. Hey guys, I said, waving. Then I lay on my back again. What are you doing? Coco asked. Looking at stars. I didn't want to hear Yang and Blake, I said, cringing. Want to hang out with us? Velvet asked. I shook my head. Now that I know what those sounds mean, Yang should be done fast, I said, laughing. That's sad. I'd take forever, Coco says, chuckling. Jesus Christ. Will poked her boob and she fell over. All right, Coco whimpered. Come on, you started this. Now we must finish it, she said, taking Velvet's hand. See you around, Ruby. Velvet yelled back at me. I smiled and waved at her. I flopped back on the grass. Ruby, you can come inside now, Blake said from the doorway. She was wearing one of Yang's shirts and Yang's shorts. I stood up and stretched and walked inside. That was fast, I said, laughing. Blake shrugged. Yang's asleep. Want to watch a movie or something? She asked. I smiled and nodded. As long as you don't eat all the popcorn again, I said. She glared at me. Sorry, but it was good, she said. Later. A sleepy Yang walked in the room and sat next to Blake. Thank you, she said groggily. Blake wrapped her arm around her. No problem, she said, kissing Yang's forehead. I was leaning against the arm of the couch. Why can't I find love? I did, but I can't be with her. Why do I like girls? Because I understand them more than guys. What if Weiss never comes back? I don't cry myself to sleep forever. I'll never be happy. I wish she would come back now. I feel like it's my fault. Ruby? Blake put an arm on my shoulder. I looked at her with teary eyes. Yang was wide awake now. I'm fine, I said. Yang hugged me. Stop thinking about her. I hate seeing you like this. Yang said, kissing my cheek. I clutched her shirt. Sorry. It's not your fault. Whose is it then? I don't know. All I know is that it's not yours. And it's probably been long enough, considering there's only 4 chapters left. So we're going to put the last bit into... yeah. I don't know. Oh, okay. 1, need to stop getting distracted. 2, that's the end of this part. Next time we'll come back and finish this, and then afterwards, I don't know what's going to happen necessarily because I probably won't be, I'd have other things that I need to be doing today, and yeah, just end this, please.